Hi, it's Jadder, and welcome to the technical deep dive into the QueryBox, which is a cool app I've built on top of the Elastic Agent Builder. And this app is about making it as easy for any user to add semantic search and AI chat to their websites. If you haven't seen the previous video, I'll just briefly go over what this app is about. So all the user needs to do is to pass the domain they own. The QueryBox will create the index, AI agent, set up the tools, then it will crawl the website, and then it lets you get this widget configured to your liking, add some title, and actually preview and install it on your website, like in next.js. I actually have it already integrated on my blog. So this QueryBox widget allows you to chat with my blog, or you can do some semantic searching through my blog posts. So this is a technical deep dive into how to get this and this up and running with Elastic Ecosystem and some other tools. Now, this tutorial will be referencing the public repo, although this is not a coding tutorial. We'll be talking about the system architecture. So the main point of reference is this rather scary looking diagram of what's going on in this system. But don't worry, we'll go over it together. So let's get started with the user experience. So we're talking about QueryBox and the user. And the user starts their experience with QueryBox via the public web page. So user clicks Get Started, and the user journey begins. And I will explain this rather complicated architecture by talking about the user journey. So our web page and the server are hosted in our simple next.js project. You can check out the QueryBox repository and go to the app package to see all of the pages and all of the API endpoints that I'll be talking about. I won't be spending time discussing the logic in detail. So yeah, this is our application, simple front end, simple backend, and the user is starting their journey by inputting a domain. Let's try some real-world example and point it to the Elastic documentation. So I've already ingested this website, and I already have the agent and index and tools created. But let's see in details what's going on behind the scenes. So when I start and set up the domain, the QueryBox endpoint is validating whether the domain is correct, whether the robots.txt are not preventing us from crawling it. And then I have some automation around creating the index with the right mappings for the domain. We want to support hybrid search and semantic search. So we are using semantic text mapping, which is very handy because it takes care of the automatic chunking of the rather long body of the pages. And we're using managed inference endpoint, which embeds our data. And it's actually managed by Elastic and runs on GPUs, which is very fast and very handy for high load workloads like, ingesting big websites. So essentially the first step is making the server call a couple of endpoints in the Elasticsearch. First creating the index, then setting up the agent and setting up the tools. Now I'll go to my Elasticsearch serverless deployment, the project, to show you what's going on. So again, we are looking at the docs.elastic.co. First thing, we're looking at the index. So before crawler crawls anything, the document count will be 0. But what we do before crawling is we're setting the right mappings. So those mappings correspond to the output of the Elastic Open Crawler. This is a public repository that will be linked in the description. But we are changing it slightly. We're introducing new field with semantic text mapping type. And this semantic text captures semantic meaning of the web page. And we're using the ELSER2 Elastic managed inference endpoint. I know it sounds overwhelming, but essentially what we're doing here is we're taking the body and copy the textual content to the semantic text. We are taking the title, I believe, and copy this field to the semantic text. And then this semantic text field that is of semantic text type will actually capture the semantic meaning of the page that is indexed. And we're using this inference endpoint is managed by Elastic. And I just want to mention it because it's the newly released Elastic Inference Service. And it's pretty cool because this is a sparse embedding and it runs on GPUs, which makes embedding pretty fast, which is very handy for processes like crawlers where we want to ingest a lot of pages at the same time. So I've been running into some issues when using this pre-configured endpoint before that depends on your ML nodes and they need to autoscale. This is very neat. So this is about your index. Now we're also creating an AI agent and tools to make sure that your agentic experience, the chat, has the desired user experience. So we can take a look at what's going on. So we are automatically creating a docs, like an assistant tied to your domain. And we are telling, this is, by the way, Elastic Agent Builder framework. So we are able to create agents and tools. And then those agents can use those tools for reasoning and for giving you better answers based on the data in Elasticsearch. So we are providing some custom instructions to make sure that our agent knows that it's a very helpful assistant for Elastic documentation page. And we are telling roughly what we want it to do. So we are telling it there's a search tool to find relevant information with natural language. And then we also wanted to include some like markdown links, some references. So we have one more tool to actually look up specific references in the index. So the tools it has, there are like two tools, which are also automatically created. So let me show you the tools. The first tool is the search tool, which is using the this is an index search tool type. You can read more about it in the agent builder documentation, but essentially configuration is super easy. You just provide index pattern and the agent builder framework is figuring out how to best search for your index. So it would figure out what mappings do you have, whether you have semantic text mapping present, and it will be able to retrieve documents with a reasonably good strategy. And then we have another tool, the get page details tool, which is an ESQL tool. And this is a more rigid tool that basically forces some like ESQL template to execute essentially. So we want to be able to, given the ID that was returned as part of the search tool, we want to look up the title and the URL of the page to be returned in the response so that to make sure that the agent doesn't hallucinate. So this is created in this very first step. Index, two tools, and an agent. Now we have a managed crawler like experience in QueryBox. I won't be going too much into detail, but essentially I was able to deploy the Elastic Open Web Crawler on model.com as a service. So there is another repo that will be linked in the description of this video. I can maybe show it. It has all of the instructions and details how to spin it up on model.com. And if you're going to follow them, you will be able to get something like that. So this is an instance of the managed crawler. It has some endpoints, and we are able to trigger a crawl, and then essentially poll for status updates. And this crawler will get some configuration from your domain, will start running in a serverless environment, and then it will index the crawled data into the Elasticsearch index that I've just been showing you with this semantic text mapping. The cool thing is that according to crawler, it just deals with textual data. It just crawls the website, it reads the text, it pushes it, it indexes it to the Elasticsearch. And now Elasticsearch is actually, upon ingestion, is making use of the Elastic Inference Service with the very fast embeddings running on GPUs to actually represent the data very quickly in your index. So this is a nice experience in making ingestion indexing very, very fast. So I think we've already covered step 1 and step 2. So once you hit the crawl button, the serverless crawler will start up and we'll be polling for updates. And this number is basically just reading the number of documents in the Elasticsearch index. Now, the last bit is actually testing and installing. And this gives you this nice live instance of the QueryBox attached to your domain. And how is this process so smooth? Because this already works. You can actually search and chat with documentation. So this is using, obviously, the data in your Elasticsearch index. Basically what we're doing here is we are creating a very simple widget that is published on NPM. So you can actually look at the widget implementation in the widget package. So it's a very, very simple implementation of a JS code that has some HTTP client. And this is utilizing the public APIs that we've defined. We've defined public chat and public search endpoint. So this code here, you can just copy paste at any static website or use next.js app. And this will be actually talking to your public endpoints that will in turn be talking to the agent builder, or will be querying directly Elasticsearch indices with hybrid query. And if you're curious about the package, you can actually go to the npm to get it yourself. And this is basically bundled JS that you can easily install on your website. And this is the only configuration that you need to put together. Now, I want to talk more about the agentic experience because I've shown you your index, I've shown you your agent, and now, given that we have the docs in, and given that this is ready to be tested and installed, I want to show you how Agent Builder is powering this experience of chatting. Let me find the right tab. This is the assistant. This is the expert about the Elastic documentation, and you can actually ask what is the semantic text mapping. You can actually see how the agent is reasoning. It first calls the search tool to find the docs that might be relevant to the response. So it will retrieve some chunks of text that is semantically relevant. And because we've asked it to use the tool to look up the exact title and URL of the pages for the most relevant documents. We'll actually use the other tool, the get page tool, to find the title and URL. And this is the resulting response. So this gives a very good overview of what semantic text is and gives a valid URL the user can click and read more about the concept they are interested in. So this is pretty much it. To reiterate, user goes to your main page. We have some server. This server initially creates an agent, some tools, index that will be using Elastic Inference Service for embeddings. We can start the crawl with Elastic Open Crawler. This is deployed as a service in model.com. And this crawler will write data into your index. And then we are exposing a simple public API that a widget is pointed to. And this public API is talking to the agent builder, is talking to your ES Elasticsearch indices, and is powering the experience that the user can see in the widget. So the chat experience and the search experience. Yeah, and I think this is pretty much it. So if you're interested in like example integrations, you can go to the QueryBox.dev page to learn more. There's also like a solid documentation page. You can also search for it or obviously chat with it, but it gives you an in-depth guide about how to install it. There's a link to the public GitHub repositories. All of the other repositories that I've mentioned in this video will be linked in the description. And obviously, if you're interested in building things like it, you can check out the Elastic Agent Builder documentation, as this is a very neat framework for powering agentic experiences for the users. And yeah, like happy coding, happy hacking.